Welcome to the Belated Tech Channel's 60th edition and second year of the Space and Tech Rewind. We are reviewing the milestones that occurred on each day in the week of August 2nd to August 8th in space exploration, science, and technology. August 2nd, 1965. The Trimline telephone was introduced on this date to all customers throughout the service area of Michigan Bell Telephone for an optional $1 monthly extra charge. The company had placed the first Trimline telephone in service in the U.S. on October 21, 1963. The dial and hang-up button were no longer on a remote base, but instead integrated into the handpiece, midway between the microphone and the speaker. A call could thus be dialed from the handpiece alone, which was more convenient in the kitchen or while in bed. It was dramatically different in style from earlier telephones, developed with the industrial design firm Henry Dreyfuss Associates. For those viewers that are wondering about the monthly service charge, the old AT&T used to only lease its phones to customers, a practice that largely came to end with the company's breakup in January 8th of 1982. We covered the old AT&T's innovations in Milestones 38, Milestones 70, and Milestones 84, and several other videos. August 3, 2004. The Messenger Mercury Orbiter was launched in a Delta II rocket from the Cape Canaveral Air Force Station's Launch Complex 17 on this date. NASA's Messenger orbited the planet Mercury between 2011 and 2015, studying Mercury's chemical composition, geology, and magnetic field. Messenger's flight path involved a complex series of flybys. The spacecraft flew by Earth once, Venus twice, and Mercury itself 3 times, allowing it to decelerate relative to Mercury using minimal fuel. During its first flyby of Mercury in January 2008, Messenger became the second mission, after Mariner 10 in 1975, to reach Mercury. Messenger then entered orbit around Mercury on March 18, 2011, again becoming the first spacecraft to do so. It successfully completed its primary mission in 2012. Following 2 mission extensions, the spacecraft used the last of its maneuvering propellant to deorbit, impacting the surface of Mercury on April 30th of 2015. August 4th, 2007, the Phoenix Mars lander was launched in a Delta II rocket from the Cape Canaveral Air Force Station's Launch Complex 17 on this date. Phoenix landed on Mars on May 25, 2008. Its instruments were used to assess the local habitability and to research the history of water on Mars. The mission was a multi-agency program led by the Lunar and Planetary Laboratory at the University of Arizona, with project management by NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory. Phoenix was NASA's 6th successful landing on Mars, from 7 attempts, and the first in Mars's polar region. The lander completed its mission in August of 2008 and made a last brief communication with Earth on November 2nd, as available solar power dropped with the Martian winter. The mission was declared concluded on November 10, 2008, after engineers were unable to recontact the craft. August 5, 2011, the Juno Jupiter Orbiter was launched on an Atlas V rocket from the Cape Canaveral Air Force Station's Launch Complex 41 on this date. It was built by Lockheed Martin and is operated by NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory. Juno entered a polar orbit of Jupiter on July 5, 2016. The probe's mission is to measure Jupiter's composition, gravity field, magnetic field, and polar magnetosphere. It will also search for clues about how the planet formed, including whether it has a rocky core, the amount of water present within the deep atmosphere, mass distribution, and its deep winds, which can reach speeds up to 384 miles per hour. Juno is the second spacecraft to orbit Jupiter, after the nuclear-powered Galileo orbiter, which orbited from 1995 to 2003. Unlike all earlier spacecraft sent to the outer planets, Juno is powered by solar arrays, commonly used by satellites orbiting Earth and working in the inner solar system, whereas radioisotope thermoelectric generators are commonly used for missions to the outer solar system and beyond. For Juno, however, the 3 largest solar array wings ever deployed on a planetary probe play an integral role in stabilizing the aircraft as well as generating power. We covered the Galileo probe in Milestones 109. August 6, 1753. Professor Georg Richmann of St. Petersburg, Russia, was killed by his experiment with lightning on this date. 1 year after Benjamin Franklin's famous kite experiment, Richmann attached a wire to the top of his house and let it down to an iron bar suspended above a bowl of water, partly filled with iron filings. The professor was struck while about a foot from the bar and closely observing the needle. His assistant, M. Sokolov, who survived, was thrown to the floor with his clothes smoldering from the fragments of hot wire. Franklin reported on the accidental death in the Pennsylvania Gazette. He relayed the assistant's account of the incident, quote, that the professor, judging from the needle that the tempest was at a great distance, assured M. Sokolov that there was no danger, but there might be at the approach. Richmann stood about a foot from the bar, attentively observing the needle. Soon after Sokolov saw the machine being untouched, a globe of blue and whitish fire, about 4 inches in diameter, darted from the bar against Richmann's forehead, who fell backwards without the least outcry. This was succeeded by an explosion like that of a small cannon, which also threw Sokolov on the floor, feeling as it were some blows on his back. Professor Richmann was killed, his body being found in the midst of his apparatus, like an artilleryman dead under the wreck of his gun. August 7th, 1959. The Explorer 6 satellite was launched in a Thor DM-18 rocket from the Cape Canaveral Air Force Station's Launch Complex 17A on this date. The satellite was designed to study trapped radiation of various energies, galactic cosmic rays, geomagnetism, radio propagation in the upper atmosphere, and the flux of micrometeorites. It also tested a scanning device designed for photographing the Earth's cloud cover and transmitted the first pictures of Earth via satellite. The first picture of Earth from space was taken by a V-2 rocket launched by the U.S. Army from the White Sands Missile Range in New Mexico on October 24, 1946. Explorer 6, also known as S2, ceased communications on October 6th when its partially functioning solar array stopped producing enough power to sustain the satellite. In 1959, an anti-satellite missile test of the bold Orion rocket used the Explorer 6 as a target. The missile successfully passed within 3.5 miles of the satellite. Explorer 6 deorbited on July 1, 1961. A total of 827 hours of analog and 23 hours of digital data were obtained during its service life. August 8, 1978. The Pioneer 13 lander transport launched on an Atlas Centaur rocket from the Cape Canaveral Air Force Station's Launch Complex 36A. Also known variously as the Pioneer Venus 2 or the Pioneer Venus Multiprobe, the transport consisted of a bus which carried 1 large and 3 small atmospheric probes. The large probe was released on November 16th, and the 3 small probes on November 20th. All 4 probes entered the Venus atmosphere on December 9th, followed by the transport. Only one of the probes continued to send radio signals back after landing on the surface, although only for just over an hour. With no heat shield or parachute, the transport made measurements only to about 110 kilometers altitude before burning up. Pioneer 13 was to be the last U.S. craft possessing a lander for the Venus surface ever launched. Before we get to the current event of the week, we wanted to see if you enjoyed this 60th episode of Belated Tech's The Space and Tech Rewind. If so, click that like button. Did you agree with our choices, or are there other events that were better? Go ahead and share with us by dropping a comment below. And if you have suggestions for an event in the future, we'll take those too. We'll credit events we pick for future videos to those viewers that post them. We hope you have been enjoying our content. Have we earned your subscription to our channel? If yes, and you have not yet taken the opportunity as of yet to subscribe, please take a moment to do so now, and click the bell notification icon so you don't miss upcoming videos. We want to continue delivering great content to you. You can always unsubscribe, and subscribing is free. On June 23, 2021, space tourism company Space Perspective announced reservations for its high-altitude hydrogen balloon that will take passengers to 18 miles in altitude, high enough to give an impressive view of the curvature of Earth. Flights are expected to commence in 2024, with ticket prices that will start at $125,000. The company ran its first flight test on June 18, 2021, from the Space Coast Spaceport in Titusville, Florida, which will lift off from NASA's Kennedy Space Center in Florida and land in the Atlantic, where passengers will be retrieved by boat. The edge of space is defined by NASA and the FAA as 50 miles in altitude. Their Kármán line, or the height at which spaceplanes no longer can ascend without rocket propulsion, is 62 miles. Space tourism competitor Virgin Galactic requires 5 days of abbreviated astronaut training, while Blue Origin likely has a similar requirement. SpaceX is offering space tourism packages on its Dragon and Starship craft, both of which are either orbital or interplanetary, and will require full astronaut training. There is no word on what training is required for a ride on the Neptune. Links to some of our most recent episodes can be found in the description section below. You can peruse our entire 250 plus video library by looking at our playlists, which conveniently sort videos by subject. We announce all new videos on our microblogging accounts, as well as in the community feed for this channel. Want to know how to navigate our channel content? We refer to retrotech and innovation documentary segments as episodes. Coverage of current events in space exploration, science, and technology are labeled as shorts. Space and tech history are documented in an anthology called Milestones, and gameplay recordings can be discovered on the BELATED Tech gaming channel in videos called walkthroughs and side missions. Stay connected by occasionally checking our Instagram feed and Minds page, where we post content from our upcoming episodes and from episodes past that you may have missed, and where we cover current news and events related to channel content. Thanks for watching.